Yeah. Okay, so I made a thank you video in response to my albums, in particular Music for Animal Cafes, for gaining a big amount of traction. And oh god, it's to 1 million views now. Thank you guys. In that video I asked you all to submit questions for me to answer in a Q&A video. That was 11 months ago. So what happened? I wrote and recorded everything and edited a good chunk on my PC, but something happened to the computer and became quite unusable with very frequent crashes, which made working on the video very frustrating, to the point where I kinda lost interest in it, so the idea was shelved for a couple months, and the months started piling up and I didn't work on it. Enough time has passed that I decided it would be better if I just started from scratch and reworked off the answers before the video turns a year old. This is the long-awaited Q&A video where I answer your most incessant questions about Nobo. Thank you to everyone who left questions and all of your kind messages. I tried to read them all. For the sake of being conservative, simplifying the wording of the questions asked and grouped them together, but that does not mean I did not read your comments. Let's get started. How did you sleep last night? That was so long ago I honestly don't remember. What are your pronouns? He/she. If someone's interested in making fan art, where can we send? You can share it to me on Twitter. Blue Sky. It's where I'm most likely to see it. Do you have more art you post anywhere else? I most often post. Do you find the crowd scenes in your album covers hard to draw? Yeah, it's quite challenging, though I find the end result is often quite worth it. I start by putting a bunch of circles to denote where the characters roughly are gonna be and creating a rough sketch. Then I scale it up and start refining them again and again and again until they look good. Music for Animal Cafes and How Many Cats Are in This Picture had a bunch of layers and rough sketches until the final result, which I think are some of my favorite covers I've ever made. What's the weirdest music tool I've ever interacted with? Hard question, and I honestly don't have a very interesting answer. A very early memory I have is some Flash game I used to play on my dad's computer with some sheep that played instruments in an orange room. Years later I found out the name of the game. Sheep Beats. The sheep don't look how I remember them. As it turns out, it looks quite right for music making Flash game standards. I thought probably not the weirdest tool I've ever used. I'll get back on you later. Where does your music background come from? I play nothing. I can barely play keyboard. My music background basically comes from using an online sequencer. Is the guy with black spots around the eyes on the cover for Music for Animal Cafes a dog or a badger? They're a badger. What kind of software do you use to edit your videos, like Promo for Gato? I actually use Sony Vegas. It's frankly a little bare bones and it's best suited for making YTPs, but I still like using it, even if it crashes a lot. I usually do the art assets on something like Paint to Sai, while the arrangement and other visual effects are all done on Sony Vegas. Even the VHS effects is done on Sony Vegas, made there by using a clever combination of filters and layer effects. Do you know 3D Arrow? I love 3D Arrow. You could probably tell by the sounds and aesthetics on some of my songs. I recommend listening for Elektel for more 3D songs. Their slick take on retro futurism is so delightfully mid-2000s that they will absolutely not be out of place in a virtual world from the era. It's kind of a mixture of 1960s easy listening and electronic house. If you're listening, I'll put links for the music on the description. What inspired your character name? I came up with my name by answering one question. What's a username that's easy to spell, has no underscores and numbers, and doesn't have any search results? I came up with Nobonoko. It sounds cute. I honestly wish I had a more interesting story behind the name, but it quite literally doesn't mean anything other than me. The character came when I drew a generic furry on my school notebook, and at the moment I just thought, oh my god, that's me? That's who I am. That's me. I gave him the name Moxie, and the character started to evolve and evolve until it looked like someone else's character. Oh fuck, I gotta, yeah, there we go. Now I have a ferret Moxie and an Outdog Moxie. They're kind of the same person and I use them interchangeably in the... Please do not confuse the green one with Skibble. That's a different guy entirely. The name Moxie just comes from the Moxie show. I just like Moxie so much that I decided to appropriate his name for my persona. Now of course, are you a furry? Yes, of course I'm a furry. Isn't that obvious? Have you seen my art? How did you learn to compose music? I never attended music school and never properly studied music theory, so the way I learned to make music was just by making music. By being a musician, I ended up picking up on a lot of music theory concepts. My music journey stayed mostly on the computer realm, and I've jumped through programs a couple of times. The first thing I used was Turnecraft. It's a browser experiment where you place blocks on a 3D 16x16 grid and they play notes. Each color represents an instrument. It's very limited and although it's hard to make something that sounds bad, it's also hard to make something that sounds great. So I moved somewhere else. Online sequencer was my next stop. That made me familiar with the layout of a MIDI sequencer, which is helpful, but its default sounds kinda leave to be desired, so it makes for a better tool for composing rather than producing. So Beatbox, that's the program I've been using since 2017, and I've learned a lot about crafting sounds, mixing, arranging, and composing thanks to this interface and the ability to see other people's songs, which, yeah, the Twitter bot that showed other people's songs was discontinued some time ago. You know why. By thesis, I learned music by making music, and occasionally looking up resources for it, such as looking up chord progressions and production and sound design videos. These are very helpful. You find sound design tricks like creating a kick drum. It's just a sine wave that pitches itself down really fast. That blew my mind so much that I used everywhere at the time. So yeah, listen to a lot of music and make a lot of songs. I wonder what Dynamo Labs is up to. Oh, what is...
Suburbia, 2123 AD. These are the musings of Greg. His mission: to explore seemingly mundane topics, to seek out deep truths, and foster relationships with the machines among us. Welcome to Fully Loaded, where the future isn't as bad as they said it would be on the news. It's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, I have Freddie no, just no. What's your favorite country other than the one you live in? What kind of question is that? I'm gonna say Germany because they have Basper Fox and Captain Bluebear. What are your favorite Shibuya-kei songs? So Shibuya-kei is a genre of music from Japan that came around in the early 90s. It's characterized by having 60 influences both musically and visually, with a lot of influence from French pop and Latin music, laying the ground for artists like Pizzicato 5, Cornelius and Yukari Fresh. However, in the late 90s, there came an offshoot genre known as Pico Pop, which introduced more cutesy and cartoony elements such as chiptune square wave beeps, big band and cartoon samples, and whispery vocals. You got artists like Capsule, Lowercase, Plastic Squeezebox, Elektel, and Serenipoja as the comment mentions. However, it's very loosely defined overall. With that info dump out of the way, I have a preference for songs from the Pico Pop era. I'm also just listing all of my favorite songs on this playlist, which I put in the description. Do you have a Discord server? No. How to make good instruments on Jambox? Play with the parameters, analyze the parameters and the presets, and if you can, analyze the instrumentation in other Jambox songs by other people so you can uncover how they make a specific sound. Listen carefully to songs and instruments and try to think how you'd go about recreating them with the settings you have available. You can also cheat and just use Ultrabox, which allows samples, but that doesn't make it easier. Where can I throw my money at you so I can get physical copies and merchandise? You can support me by buying my music on Bandcamp. I don't have any physical release or merchandise on the moment, but by supporting me, I might be able to make it real in the future. Are you not a furry now? How long have you been using Beatbox? I've been using it since November 2017, which means I've been making music on it for roughly 7 years now. Isn't that incredible? Will you have a vinyl release? I'm not planning on it, but I would like to make it real someday. Do you draw your album covers and what are your inspirations? I do draw and design them all, with me only stealing graphics sometimes. My art influence come from many different places, mostly old cartoons, vintage design, and only artists I like. My inspiration changed depending on the project. Music for Animal Confess was obviously inspired by the UPA art from the 60s and 50s, while Gato was inspired by designs seen on vintage stamps and boxes, particularly those matchboxes with smoking cats on them. The Blocking Records logo was inspired by this motif from the Butt music releases, and someone asked if the mask was based on Yukihiro Takahashi's Walking on the Beat music video, and yes, that's true. The polka dot albums are also a reference to Shibuya-kei release, which featured polka dot cover designs. How did you develop your amazing art style? By drawing and consuming a lot of art. Where are you from and who are your favorite artists and bands? I'm from Brazil, and I like a variety of artists. Hiroshi Sato could possibly be my favorite of all time, since his albums are some of the most beautiful pieces of art I've ever interacted with. I also love Yellow Magic Orchestra, which some people point out my composition style is similar to. I like Curly Capsule and the related projects like Legends of Cosmetica and Kodemonica, Elektel, Sonic Coaster Pop, Fujin Club, Akiko Yano, Toshiki Kadamatsu, Jean-Jacques Perret and Pat Prilly, Cassiopeia, Sarani Poji, Frenesi, and Minami Kitasono. These are some of the ones I really like. I'll put them on a playlist. Can you make a list of the albums you mentioned in our thank you video? Well, in that video I'll briefly show covers of a couple of albums I'm enjoying without actually saying what the albums are. So here they are. These are Nexus 2060 by Capsule, the Kotaba no Pazuru Moji Pitandaiji Ten soundtrack by Satoru Kozaki and others, Nagisa Cosmetics self-titled album by Yasutaka Nakate and Nagisa Ichikawa, Elektel's Space Travel with Teddy Bear, Plastic Squeeze Box Fake Fox, and Sarani Poji's Bomberman Me EP, which comes with one of the coolest music videos I've ever seen. I'll link them all in the playlist below in the description. What are your favorite TV shows or anime? I'm honestly not a person who watches a lot of TV shows very often, much less anime. I guess I did watch BFTI a couple years ago, a pretty good show. Some things I like include No Pagodi, a show about this angry queer-looking wolf who wants to capture the small queer-looking hare, a lot Tom and Jerry, although it was allegedly not inspired by it, and Leopold the cat, basically the opposite of No Pagodi. Two rats try to ruin the life of this cat, but he's so calm and prudent that nothing affects him, and the episode ends with the rats apologizing for him, resulting in him saying that they should all just be friends.
Ребята, давайте жить дружно.
We have Untalkative Bunny, a show about a mute bunny who lives in a city and goes through adult life with his squirrel friend, set to jazz music. I like some of Estonian animators' Britbarn shorts. Yatib Trike, a green bear tries to entertain monsters with funny surreal tricks, but they end up just distracting them from their must-dos, and makes them angry. Time Out, a cat that looks like a raccoon goes through a bunch of shit I haven't watched that one in a while. Kitty Bobo, a show that only has one pilot episode. A group of college-age animals in a jazzy-looking city go through one adventure because Kitty Bobo is mere dumbass trying to impress everyone with a cell phone. It's really good looking. Dr. Katz, a show about a psychiatrist. The show could probably replace therapy section because of how relaxing the voice acting is. Dog City, a hybrid between puppetry and 2D animation where animator Elliot Shag runs a cartoon about the detective Ace Hart, who he talks to regularly. They are also mostly dogs. Mostly, there are some cat representation in the show. Téléchat, a French puppet show parodying a news program with surreal props and furries. From a scene, it looks like a more dry version of 31 Minutos. 31 Minutos, it's like Téléchat but less dry. It's where this clip comes from.
Estaba desprotegida.
A ver, Cactus, quédate quieto un momento. ¡Ah! Ni siquiera tú me sirves para algo.
It's on YouTube and has English subtitles. I'm studying a lot of time, so I guess I'll just drop random ones. Go for that. Scary the Squirrel, Rhubarb, Sunday Pants, I guess. I love children's shows no one watched. As for anime, I like Agretsuko, I guess Dorori and Doraemon, and that's it. Do you typically make music from inspiration or from experimentation? I think there are both valid approaches to making music, and both lead to different music results. But personally, I find myself making music from inspiration, as clicking around in a computer screen isn't the most inspiring way to come up with music, to be honest. And inspiration can come from anywhere, from an obscure song you saw in a bumper to a cool sound you hear from your toaster. But like, are you a furry? Is your green cat person your fursona? I'm a ferret! I'm still waiting for Cutscene It 2, it's been like 5 years, please man. Okay, this comment Soul that it was made before the Volkatzen album came out. Oops. To clarify, this album was dedicated to a specific commenter who has been my friend for a long time. What inspired you to make such great music? Other music. What do you use for accordion sounds? Is it a VST? It's not a VST, in fact it's pretty much just an oscillator waveform with some subtle effects. It's derivative of the default beatbox accordion preset, and I'm honestly surprised it sounds good enough to be mistaken for a virtual instrument. Also now I'm also using this accordion sample my friend ripped from an Animal Crossing title. I just call it the Nintendo accordion. How did you get into Shibuya-kei and what do you like about it? What's your favorite 3 songs and favorite artists? So I found out because I was listening to some song re-upload on YouTube and I wanted to see if the channel had more uploads from the older tracks from the album. And when I clicked there I saw a bunch of albums I had never heard of. Fake Fox, Cupra, Me and My Monkey on the Moon. Well, what are those? I had to know more. And well, turns out sometimes you find the best music by clicking on places you usually wouldn't click on. As for preferences, my favorites for basically anything are very multiple and never changing, so my list may be different by the time this video is uploaded, but Elektel, Sonic Coaster Pops, and Capture 4016-882, Little Kiki. My favorite artists are Capsule, Half of Compton Mode, Usagi Chang, Serani Poji, and Elektel. I have mentioned them a lot throughout this video. Can I make a drawing of your fursona? No, it's prohibited, and my company was just issuing a cease and desist letter to DeviantArt user Merely Samgung Fan 3000 for this drawing. Sorry, I can't risk people profiting off my company's intellectual property. How did you end up with your logo/character? Is there a backstory behind them? Well, the backstory for the character is this, and that he's me, and I'm not sure what this person means by logo. Possibly my profile picture? Well, I drew it because people are saying the old one looked like a penis. What music program do you use? Where do you download your instruments and plugins? I use Jambox and Ultrabox for the majority of my albums. They are mods of Beatbox.co, a track is sequencer-esque browser program made primarily for chip-tune sounding music, but it can be used to create quite robust sounding stuff. Those mods enhance that by adding cool features like modulators and a sampler. Some of the stuff people making those kinda blow my mind, it's like they're coming out of a professional DAW sometimes. And I do not use any plugins because I use Beatbox. What's the longest you've ever worked on a track before releasing, and what was the process before you realized how you wanted to piece it together? Longest I've physically worked on a song and longest period of time the song was under progress. For the first, I honestly have no idea. I think in total I only tend to work on a song for a few hours. I will get back on you on that one. There are also my songs that are near 10 minutes, like Hindblood and Paw, which I worked on a little longer than usual of course. For the second interpretation, song with the longest gap of time during production, it will probably be for Cutscene 10, with a near exact 5-year gap between the original draft and the final version. I started working on that song around early 2019 and finished around April of 2024. For Scale, I started working on music about 7 years ago, so that song was technically a work in progress for most of my music career. Congrats, Pauline, your song is special. If you could only pick a handful of artists to list for the rest of time, what would they be? Hiroshi Sato, Jean-Jacques Perret, and myself, partially because I can then make any music I want to hear. I thought that might not have been what they meant, so Yellow Magic Orchestra. Do you have any mascot? Yes. Who's your favorite artist? These. They are 3 artists probably. Will you put your music on streaming platforms? I probably will have to, but to be honest I kind of hate the idea. However, I guess that isn't really a best option, and I've had difficulty to find the least worst one. I've had bad past experience with music theft from one of those services. How many cats are there? 29. Love your music, but I just had to say, cute dog. Cute dog indeed. You're talking about me? Why are you awesome, Nobo? I take meds for it. What's with planarians? Have you ever met one? I love how simple they look and I love their little cartoony eyes. And no, I've never seen one in real life. Why a ferret? I love ferrets. but the lizard are just cuter than the average animal. What's your approach for overall mixing and instrumentation of your music? I don't know, mixing is hard and can be the most boring part of making a song, to be honest, but I think the more music you make, the better of a sense you get for mixing, and you spend less time making a mess and trying to fix it. For instrumentation, I like to listen to other songs and analyze the parts and instruments used and copy them in my own mix. And the reason you use the McDonald's cutscene chat in some of your previous releases? So this is an image I downloaded a long time ago, around the time I got this computer, and I just had it there. When my Soundcloud began to grow, I decided to use this image on every release for no reason other than aesthetic homogeny and because it's funny. I ditched it, but it still became part of my brand for a while. Do you like bread? Yeah. So you are a furry, right? Maybe? Are you a furry? Ew. Stop asking that. Do you think you open out commissions in the future? I haven't organized yet, but I'll probably do it eventually. Did you remove your album from Apple Music? I didn't put it there. Okay, which one of you is stealing my music? As a caution, if you see my music on streaming service without me making an announcement on my YouTube channel, it was not me who put there and you should not be streaming it. What do you think of when making your songs? Depends on the song. I often imagine the characters and mascots, mostly animals, to go with them. Sometimes I imagine locations, cartoons or games you would hear the music on. There's some specific world building too. When making Cat in a Sea of Soap, I often imagine it surrounds Pico Cat, a Soviet-era cartoon about a small cat figurine who goes on adventures exploring a big house. When making the song for How Many Cats Are in This Picture, I just thought of different areas from a game about drawing cats. For Planarian Puzzle, I imagine it would be a Japan-only puzzle game featuring planarians with Needless Gold music. I'm not sure I've heard that before. Usually what I imagine when making a song can evolve into a whole concept album, which is quite exciting when it happens. What's your current favorite song? Hard question as always. My generic answer is usually Minami Kitasono's remix of Gridging Club, but as of writing the script, I'd say Grassy Grace from Animal Crossing New Leaf is a song I've been looping a lot recently. Any genres or music structures you haven't explored yet and would like to do in the future? Do you think you'd be able to keep doing that on beatbox? Hi Lenny. Well, when I find a genre or texture I want to explore musically, I try to do it right away. Although something I want to do is more cool and edgy drum and bass stuff, and EDM and future bass. My production style is very based on the 80s and 2000s, but not really the 2010s, which has some pretty cool stuff I haven't explored yet. I feel like I haven't explored with sound design nearly as much as I could too, as shown by my friend Elektel. They mix the amazing stuff. Are you interested in experimenting with music genre, using different dolls, etc.? I'd love to use FL Studio or Ableton someday. I love how Ableton's interface looks and it looks fun to use, but for now I'll just be sticking to Ultrabox. Collab with Napcast when? Any plans for merch vinyl records? I would love your arts on a shirt. No, don't say that, okay, don't click that link. Okay. Here, have a toast. Thanks. It fits my desk. Would you rather blood in the sink or sink in the blood? What do you mean? Blood is capitalized there. For my first question, I gotta know how many questions I'm allowed to ask. It's a little late for that. 2. Okay, I guess that's it for now. Thank you.